For the first time in months, Adara felt truly seen. From that night, their bond deepened. He introduced her to his family, his kind-hearted mother Mama Ebere, who welcomed Adara with open arms. "My son has been smiling more lately," she teased. "Whatever you're cooking, continue." Obinna's little daughter Chisom soon called Adara Auntie Ada. They baked cupcakes together, their laughter echoing through the kitchen. Meanwhile, far across town, guilt was brewing elsewhere. Amaka and Ifeoma, the architects of Adara's heartbreak, were no longer friends. Money and jealousy had driven them apart. One night, after a bitter argument, Amaka stormed out shouting, "You think you're better than me? I'll tell everyone what we did." Ifeoma froze. "What are you saying?" Amaka sneered. "You heard me. Let Chike know who sent those fake messages." 2 days later, Amaka's conscience could bear no more. She contacted Chike through social media. "There's something you need to know about what happened to Adara," she wrote. Chike's heart pounded as he read the messages, screenshots of their plan, voice notes proving the lies. He dropped his phone, face pale. Memories rushed back, Adara's pleading eyes, her confusion, her tears. He had destroyed everything because of rumors. That night he couldn't sleep. "What have I done?" he whispered. The next morning, Chike booked a flight from Lagos back to Enugu. He needed to see her, to beg, to explain, to undo the years that guilt had stolen. By then, Adara's world had bloomed again. She and Obinna had opened a small restaurant together, bright yellow walls, palm-woven chairs, and a signboard that read, "Taste of Ada." People came for the food, but stayed for the warmth she poured into every plate. She had learned to laugh again, to believe again. The scar was still there, but it no longer defined her. One afternoon, she was setting the tables when a familiar voice called softly behind her, "Adara." She turned, and time froze. There stood Chike, older, thinner, eyes clouded with remorse. For a moment, neither spoke. The clatter of spoons and chatter of customers faded to silence. "Adara," he began, voice shaking. "Please, please, don't walk away. Just let me talk." Her chest tightened, memories flooding back like thunder, but she nodded slowly. "Sit." They sat in the corner of the restaurant. "I found out everything," he said. Amaka confessed. "The pictures, the chats, they were all lies. I was a fool, Adara. I let jealousy and fear destroy what we had. I've carried this guilt every day." Adara's eyes glistened. She took a deep breath. "You didn't even ask me, Chike. One conversation could have saved us." He bowed his head. "I know, and I deserve whatever you feel. But please, forgive me." She looked at him, really looked at him, and realized he was no longer the man she loved. The wound had healed, and love had found a new home. She whispered, "I forgave you long ago. Not for you, but for me. But I've moved on." Chike's lips trembled. "Is there someone else?" At that moment, Obinna walked in, carrying supplies, smiling as he called, "Adara, where should I keep these cartons?" Chike saw the way her eyes softened, the peace in her posture. He understood without another word. He stood, tears brimming. "Then I'm happy for you. You deserve this peace." He turned and walked away. This time, truly gone. Adara stood quietly for a while, then felt Obinna's hand on her shoulder. "Are you okay?" he asked gently.
I think I finally am. Weeks passed after Chike's visit, and for the first time in a long while, Adara felt entirely free. The ghosts of her past no longer whispered. She could now look at her reflection and not see a victim, but a woman reborn from the ashes of betrayal. Her restaurant thrived. The laughter of customers filled the air every day. Children ran in and out with meat pies, delivery bikes came and went, and Adara, once left broken at an altar, had now built her own altar of resilience and joy. Obinna was her steady anchor through it all. He never tried to erase her pain. Instead, he stood beside her through it. He was gentle but firm, protective without being controlling, and he never made her beg for the love she deserved. One Friday evening, they closed the restaurant early. The rain had just started, soft and rhythmic on the roof. Adara stood by the window, watching the city lights blur through the drizzle. Obinna walked up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. "You know," he said quietly, "I used to think love was supposed to be perfect, but meeting you taught me it just has to be real." She turned to face him, smiling. "And what does real love look like, Mr. Obinna?" He looked into her eyes, like this. He reached into his pocket and brought out a small velvet box. Adara gasped softly as he knelt down, the golden light of the room shimmering on his face. "Adara," he began, voice low but steady, "you've known pain and you've known betrayal. Yet, instead of letting it break you, you let it grow you. I don't want to promise you a life without storms, but I promise to hold your hand through every rain. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in Adara's eyes. She nodded slowly, smiling through the tears. "Yes, Obinna, 1,000 times yes." And just like that, a chapter closed and another began. Their wedding was simple, intimate. No grandeur, no show-off.
Just family, friends, and peace. The hall was decorated with sunflowers and warm lights. Chisom, Obinna's daughter, scattered petals as Adara walked in. Her gown this time was not heavy with lace or jewels. It was soft and flowing, with delicate African embroidery at the waist. Every step she took down the aisle was a declaration of victory. The pastor smiled as he began. "Marriage is not about perfection, but about grace. And sometimes, God allows heartbreak to lead us to true love." Obinna squeezed her hand. Adara smiled back, the kind of smile that carried peace deeper than happiness. When it was time to exchange vows, she spoke from her soul. "I once thought love was something you found only once, but now I know it's something you find when you finally learn to love yourself first. Obinna, you saw beauty in my brokenness. You turned my tears into laughter. I promise to love you gently, truthfully, and fearlessly." A soft murmur of emotion spread through the hall. Even Chike, who had been invited by Obinna's insistence to make peace, bowed his head quietly, humbled by the grace before him. When the pastor finally declared them husband and wife, the crowd erupted in applause. Obinna kissed her forehead softly, and the choir began to sing. When God says yes, nobody can say no. After the wedding, life unfolded beautifully. Adara and Obinna expanded the restaurant into a franchise. Branches in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. Taste of Adara became a household name. She began to mentor young women, teaching them business skills and self-worth. One of her videos went viral on Instagram. In it, she said, "Sometimes the people you call friends are the very ones who envy your peace. But don't let their lies define your truth. What is yours will find you, even if it takes a long, painful detour." Her words inspired many. She received messages from women across Nigeria, some left by lovers, some betrayed by friends,
all saying her story gave them strength. Meanwhile, Amaka's life had spiraled. She tried to reach out to Adara several times, consumed by guilt. For months, Adara ignored her. But one day, she decided to meet her at a small cafe. Amaka looked worn out, eyes tired, hands trembling. "Adara," she whispered, "I don't deserve your forgiveness. I ruined your life. I just wanted to feel important. I hated how everyone adored you. Please." Adara watched her quietly, remembering the girl who once laughed beside her. She sighed deeply. "I already forgave you. Not because you asked, but because I refused to let your darkness steal my peace." But Amaka learned from this. Envy doesn't destroy others. It destroys the person who carries it. Tears streamed down Amaka's face. "You are still better than me," she sobbed. Adara smiled faintly. "No, I just chose healing over hate." They parted ways, one lighter, one wiser. Years passed. Adara and Obinna built a life full of laughter. Every Sunday, their home was filled with family. Mama Ibere, little Chisom, and soon their own baby boy Kamsi. Sometimes, Adara would sit in the garden, watching the children play and think of how far she had come. From a broken bride to a fulfilled wife and mother. One evening, she sat outside, the golden sunset brushing her face. Obinna joined her, holding 2 cups of zobo. He handed her one and smiled. "What are you thinking about?" She laughed softly. "Just how life has a way of surprising us. I was once the woman everyone pitied. Now I'm the woman God restored." He reached for her hand. "You were never just a victim, Adara. You were always the light. People just had to stop dimming it." They clinked their cups gently, smiling as Chisom and Kamsi chased each other around the compound, their laughter echoing like music. The camera zooms out slowly, showing the home they built, the peace that replaced pain, the beauty of love reborn. Life doesn't always give us the endings we dream of, but sometimes it gives us the endings we need. When those you trust betray you, when love breaks your heart, remember, not every goodbye is a loss. Some are divine redirections. Adara's story reminds us that rejection is not the end. It's the beginning of something real, something lasting, something pure. So to every heart that has been left behind, keep living, keep loving, keep believing. Because one day, when the time is right, love will find you again. And this time, it will stay.